Well, during the daytime, what happens is very legitimate and respectable. So this morning, for instance, I've had a class, basically, and then I just had a little meeting that was not really class-related with one of my colleagues and 2 students. I don't teach on Thursdays in a big class, in a big classroom, but most every day I'm teaching something, and these are kind of my course materials back here. But, you know, down the hall here, there are French professors and history professors and what else is on this hall? Maybe that's an economics professor. Just lots of teaching and learning and conversing and reading and preparing and stressing out, and students will sit on these little benches out here and kind of check their email and talk to each other and talk about what's happening spring break next week. And then the 3 of them, I have every confidence, are going to turn around when they graduate from Davidson and go out and engage the world somehow with what they've learned, and be better prepared to engage food insecurity or race injustice because they have this knowledge of the history of how long these problems have existed and where they've come from and why they exist, and that kind of thing. So that, I mean, they're all, the 3 of them in very different ways are kind of at crossroads of their own, fueling up and then heading out to try to change things. When I was a student here, which we're getting ready to have our 25th reunion in June, so it's been a long time, there were just a tiny handful of female faculty. There were very few minority faculty, and that has changed a lot. There's still a lot of room for improvement. The student body is a lot bigger. The student body is a lot more diverse. Again, always room for improvement. And the students are from a much broader geographical area. There are a lot more international students than there used to be. So it's fun to see kind of how the place has maintained its identity, but also changed a lot in a lot of good ways. So it's there are some times when I do feel like a little bit of an old fogey, like, oh, you can't change that. You can't. That's not the way we used to do it. But most of the time I try to kind of pocket that. Memory of a previous iteration of Davidson. So there are people on the faculty, there are people I teach with who have been here for 30 years or 35 years or 40 years who also went to Davidson. So there's a, and this is my grandfather who also went to Davidson.
Oh my gosh.
This spring is 100 years. He graduated in 1913. So.
Wow.
Oh, that's him. I mean, these 3 students that were here before, it's so spooky kind of how they, one fellow, his mother is white, his father's black. Then there's a Caucasian student and this African-American woman. And the 3 of them, it's almost like, it's not that they share a personality, but they have this relationship with each other that is, it's intellectual and it's personal and it's spoken and it's unspoken. And they think together and they play together and they perform together, and they just, it's such an interesting mixture of serious and funny and work and play, and I think it happens a lot. It could happen more. It happens in my classes, I'll see, depending on the subject matter, the kind of freedom that students feel to be open to something like that, kind of crossing boundaries. But yeah, I see that. I love it.